Okay, hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Sorry, hair's annoying me, it needs a haircut. Still haven't had a haircut, can't wait for the barbers to be open, I really can't. I'm going to put a hat on, sorry about that folks, just to stop my hair from getting in my face and annoying me. I never tell if it's on straight, I don't know if it is or not, probably isn't. Anyway, hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Mark here, the Dorset Bumpkin. So just wanted to come on camera and do a very quick video. Now the reason is because I've had a lot of people ask me at work and family as well. They've asked me about my book that I'm writing, or my story that I'm writing, because those of you who watched my Furloughed goals video know that part of my Furloughed goals was to continue doing some writing for my my story that I started. Now, it was meant to start out as just a simple short story that I was going to write over the course of the summer. And that was pretty, it was just something very quick, a few chapters, a story that ends really quickly. It's proven to be a lot longer than I expected, because I seem to be building a whole new world, which I didn't expect to be doing. I don't mind doing it, it's fun doing it, but believe me. So it's taken a little bit longer now, so I've decided that one of my furlough goals would be to write, at least get the first draft of the story complete, because as you know, I think I've shared it in my previous videos, my furlough's been extended to end of October. Now, I do remember saying this on another video. Now, I don't anticipate being out from work until the end of October, but you never know. We don't know what's happened with the pandemic and the disease. It could have another spike. There could be more cases, but let's hope not. But it just could be. So one of my fellow goals was to write my story. When I say write my story, it's at least get the first draft out of the way. Now, the reason I wanted to complete that was because the first draft is going to be basically the bare bones of my story, which is the important bit. That's the bit that I want to work with. It's like a foundation. When a builder builds a home or an extension of their home, they have to first put in the foundations which they're going to build on, which is essentially what my first draft of the story is all about. So it's just really me building on it. Just give me a second, I'm going to turn my music down a bit on my computer. It's still a bit loud, I don't want that coming over the video while I'm talking, so give me a second, I'll be back in a moment. Hey guys, back with you, thanks for waiting. I've actually picked a really bad time to be doing this video because it's just gone, it's about 8:15ish at night. I've just made myself one of those super noodle pot snacks, because I had a really nice meal earlier today, this afternoon, a chicken tikka. So I don't need to eat a lot now, so I've actually picked up about a bad time to be doing this video because my noodles are going a bit stodgy over there. So I'll try, never mind, I'll try not to take too long. But so yeah, what do I want to do? I want to talk about my book, because it's now going to be a book, there's no doubt about it. Now, let's go from the start. So what was it initially meant to be? So as I say, it was meant to be a short story, and it was going to just feature two characters, well actually one character. My main character, who is a chap called Haidar Pinegreen, he's a warlock. Now in this world, men are called warlocks, ladies are called sorceresses, however, whatever the plural is of sorcerer maybe, I don't know. Collectively, they're called arcane mages. Singly, they're called arcane magi. Okay, that's just the bare bottom. So the story revolves around a little village called a place called Fettersbrook. Now, it's not a real place; it's a place that I've made up completely for this world that I'm writing the story in. What's happened is a sorceress that lives in the village as the herbalist, the potion, and just kind of gives out potions to help with people's ailments. She's been killed, basically. Now, it seemed initially just to be a standard killing. Once it was looked into, it was discovered that magic is the reason that she's died. So what's happened is the head of the village eldership, because the council, or the leading governing council of the village is like a village eldership. It would be probably equivalent to our local councils. So he's called in, the head is called in a really old friend of his called Haidar Pinegreen, who, as I say, is a warlock. Now, in my world, warlocks and sorceress, they all have an elemental affiliation, which is standard in most fantasy novels. He's been called in to investigate the killing of the sorceress, who, by the way, was called Meruat Crocus Cluster. Now, I'll tell you, you might notice that with the warlocks in this world, Pine Green is not Hydar's proper surname, it's not his proper family name. When they become warlocks, they get given this a name. Usually it's a descriptive name, and for warlocks it's relating to trees, and a description of trees or something relating to trees. For sorceress, they get named after flowers, and again, their surnames is not their real family name, it's a descriptive term, Crocus. So for the victim, Meruat is her real name. Crocus Cluster, though, is not her surname, her family name. Crocus is just the flower name she's been given when she became a sorceress. Cluster is just a descriptive term of that, because those that know their crocuses do grow as clusters, hence why I called her that. She's been killed. Transpires that she's been killed by a very, very lethal earth spell. She herself was an earth sorceress, so earth was her elemental association. She's been killed by a earth spell, which is a forbidden spell. So because magic's involved, the village eldership decided this is not something they can deal with. They need to bring someone with magical expertise in to investigate the death, which is why Hydar, my main character, has come into the story. He's in the village, just gathering a bit of background information about the death of the sorceress, and he's going to investigate it. He's made friends, well, more than friends actually. He's built up a strong relationship with the high priestess of the village, a she-elf known as Elandriel Vi Tuamin. Now, I'm going to work on the pronunciation. I don't quite know if that's how I want to pronounce it, but that's just what I'm going with for now. So yeah, that sets up my two main characters, Hydar and Elandriel. Now, there's going to be something that I have not written yet in the story, which is going to be writing in future chapters, that binds the two of them together. But I'm not going to go into details and spoil that at this stage. Just so you're aware as well, I'm not going to actually read any excerpts of my story, because it's, as I say, it's only bare bones, very basic first draft. Once I've got it all written down and I've done the second draft and I've started to adapt it a little bit and tweak it, then I might come on camera and read excerpts of the story for you, but not just yet. I'm not ready for it to read it out publicly just yet. That doesn't mean to say that I won't, because I will do at some point in the future. So yeah, so we've got our main characters, Elandriel and Hydar. They're going to be bound by something that's, as I say, not yet written in the story, but it is coming. Now, obviously, as you probably gathered, it's a high fantasy novel, and you're probably thinking, well, yet another high fantasy novel. It's a genre in writing that is saturated with so many authors and so many different books and things. What could possibly make it unique to anything else? Well, that's the thing, see, that's what I've got to do. I've got to work out something that's going to make it unique to anything else. And I've already come up with one idea, which I don't think has been done before in this kind of story. If it has, I don't know, that it's not a big thing, but there is something I'm going to be bringing into the story which relates to sorceresses and warlocks, something that they can do. That's going to be unique to them. It's also going to be something that's unique as well in a different way to elven sorceresses and sorcerers. So there's a difference there. With humans, it's warlocks and sorceress. With elves, it's sorcerers and sorceresses. So yeah, and there's differences as well in magic. With humans, they have what's called an awakening, which is when they discover magic power. Usually when they're aged between 9 and 11, something it sparked it. It doesn't matter what it is. It's not something that's sparked by anything specific. It's just something that happens. So there is another character in the story, a supporting character, a little girl called Lilia, who found the dead body, found the sorceress's body the next day. She's going to play more into the story a bit later on. I haven't written much relating to her, but she's also just discovering that she has the magic spark, so she's just experiencing her awakening. Now with elvens, it's a bit different. Now you'd expect them to be born with magical power, and that is certainly true. They are born with magical power because they're a magical race. but it's different with them. Their awakening is very, very different. It can happen any time in their life, either when they're young, middle-aged, or much, much later in life. And usually it's something emotional that triggers it for elves. And again, that is something I'm going to bring into the story in the upcoming chapter when I go back to Haidar and Elandriel in a moment, in my next chapter. At the moment I'm just focusing on the bad guys because I'm bringing them forward into the story now, because I've not done that just yet, but they're coming into the story now. So yeah, that's the basic premise. Now the bad guys are an order of dark warlocks. So as you can probably imagine, there's your elemental magic, which is the 4 elements: fire, water, air and earth. Some really powerful warlocks and sorceresses can also use something called light magic, which is a very, very powerful magic, but it does tire them out and takes a lot of magic energy to do it. Also, some warlocks and sorceresses, if they choose, and they have a lust for power, they can get involved in stuff called shadow magic, which is a lot worse, which is basically dark magic. So this order is, the bad guys are an order of dark warlocks, and they are looking to bring in an era of dark magic upon the kingdom, or upon the realm, which is made up of 5 kingdoms. Now, just to briefly talking about the kingdom of the realm itself, it's one of, a few years ago I created a whole world. I called the world CERN, C-R-N-E. And it's made up of 9 kingdoms and a 10th kingdom which is unnamed. That's something else, I'm dealing with that in a different story, one of the other kingdoms, but that's separate to this story. But yeah, this story that I'm writing is set in one of those 9 kingdoms called, I'm not going to say what it's called because I don't want to spoil too much, and I don't want to make this video a long video, but yeah, so this is set in this kingdom. Now the story is going to be it's going to happen mostly in Fettisbrook, because there's going to be more about Fettisbrook than just a normal village. It's not just a sleepy old village in the middle of the countryside. There's a lot more to it than meets the eye, as we're going to find out as the story unfolds. It's going to be the main thing. So yeah, the story itself is a high fantasy. It's going to feature your good guys and your bad guys. There's going to be a lot of other things along the way as well, like side quests and mini stuff that the main characters get involved in. And other things going on just to interlace with the story. And there's going to be supporting characters as well that I'm going to bring into the story. Ultimately, Haidar and Elandriel, my protagonists, if you like, are going to face off against the Dark Warlocks of the Order. And there's 4 at the moment. But there's also a few characters outside of the main 4 which will be brought into this order. One of them is a guy called a Dark Warlock, simply known as the Cleaner. He hasn't got a name. I haven't given him a name just yet, and that's deliberate because I don't know if I want to give him a name. I want to keep him nameless. He's just simply known as the Cleaner or the Warlock, and basically he's the one that goes in, cleans up, and hides the evidence of anything that's going on. So he's one character, supporting character. I'm about to introduce another supporting character who's going to meet one of the main 4 wizards. He's again not quite in the order, but he's on the cusp of the order, and he's going to be part of the order. His main skill is obviously being a dark warlock, but he's also skilled in necromancy, which, as you know, is not a nice thing, but reanimates the dead. So that's something that he can do. And also another one of the main 4, they are going to be recruiting a sorceress. She's going to be the first sorceress that joins the Dark Order. I don't know yet what the order is going to be called. I haven't given them a name. I just know who's made up of them and the kind of chain of command that are in that. They're the bad guys, basically, and they're trying to usher in this era of shadow magic to basically to try and rule the kingdom, which might seem like a typical textbook fantasy novel, but I'm going to try and make it unique and different in some way. So yeah, that's bad guys. Now, this story, as I say, I'm world building, so it's not just going to be a one-off story. So there's plenty of stories that I can tell from this in this world as well. Now, whether or not Haidar Pinegreen is going to be my main character always, I don't know yet. Possibly not. Because I've created a whole group of characters that I want to feature in the stories, and they will get featured at some point. But for now, it's all about this first story. So yeah, we've got 2 main story arcs. Haidar Pinegreen, the the main character trying to investigate the death of the sorceress. Plus also this order of dark warlocks that are looking to just bring in this usher in this time of darkness, and obviously the two stories are going to be interlinked anyway. They're going to be interwoven because there's other. I don't want to spoil too much because I don't want to give the story plot away too much. But there's other factors that I've written into the story so far that will eventually link the two main story arcs together. And High Elf and Philanthia will feature in both of the stories. So there's, although they think the only thing they're going to deal with, one fact they're going to deal with is this killing of the sorceress, ultimately they're going to have to go up against the whole order because there's going to be a much bigger thing involved in this story. And I'm just unfolding it now in the current chapter I'm writing. So I'm bringing the bad guys into action more now and setting them up going forward. So what I tend to do in the stories, I write a bit about my heroes, then I'll write a chapter that's to do with the bad guys, which is how I'm going to go forward. It's going to be like going forward as well. But yeah, as I say, I've got a whole bunch of supporting cast, and I'm going to start to bring in some of these supporting characters in the upcoming chapters to both, as I say, the Dark Order, plus to Hydar and Hilandriel, the main characters. And there's going to be another death as well. I want to bring the village itself into play more because, as I say, the village is a special village. It's got something special, which is going to play into the story as well. And I want to unpack that and embed that in coming chapters as well. So that's my story essentially. As I say, I'm not going to go into details too much about it because I don't want to spoil it because it's all very, very rough right now. I've only written the 6th chapter of the first draft. Once I've written the whole first draft and completed it, I can then perhaps go into a bit more about the story, what I've written and how it's going on. But yeah, this video really was just to talk about the story that I'm writing. What was going to be a short story is now developing into a full-blown story, full-blown novel. It's exciting. As I say, I'm doing a bit of world building and also developing backstories and developing my characters as well, because it's important that my readers relate to the characters, the villains and the heroes, because if you're reading a book you want to be able to relate to the characters and really feel what they're going through and what they're doing. You want to hate them and despise them for what they're doing. So yeah, that is it really. That's just really why I came on camera today, just to talk about my book, my story. A lot of people have asked me, what's it about, what am I writing about? So yes, it is a fantasy novel, but it is going to have its own unique flavour, which I'm going to put on it, which is going to be my own sort of thing, to make it different from other fantasy novels, and hopefully, yeah, it will work. I have started other books in the past and other stories, never really carried them on, but this one I'm really, really passionate about. I'm really taken by my main characters. I'm really feeling for them, and I'm keen to develop them and want them to be loved, and I want them to be hated as well. So yeah, I'm getting the real feels for this story, so I will continue. I've got all this time off now at the moment until I'm called back into work, so it's no excuse. It's a lovely, lovely weather. I can't go out every single day because you can't do everything you want. So yeah, I'm spending time as much as possible when I'm not out writing stuff, adding to the story, and yeah, throughout the rest of this week I'll be doing more to it, and yeah, I'll maybe do update videos in the future as I going forward as I update it, and if I feel anything I want to share about the story to get you guys excited about it as well and want to know about it. And who knows, maybe when it's complete, in however long it takes me to complete it, maybe we can do a premiere and read it out on the channel. That'd be really cool. But yeah, for now that's it from me today. Sorry if it's been a boring video, just me walking for 18-20 minutes. Apologies. I just wanted to come on camera and just talk about my story that I've been writing, because a lot of people ask me about it, what's it about, what am I writing, so I just come on to a brief video just to try and address that and talk about it a little bit. So yeah, if you enjoyed it, thanks for watching to the end, and I do appreciate your support. Leave a comment, like the video as well, and if you're new to the channel, finding me for the very first time, subscribe. I will read your comments. Unfortunately, because I'm only a very, very small channel, haven't got a whole ton of people that subscribe to me, very, very few in fact. I can take time to read your comments and reply to them. So don't worry about that. If you send me a comment, I'll read it and I will reply to you if you want me to. But yeah, that's it from me. Thanks for watching today. Keep safe, and I hope you're all well. And I'll see you all soon in another video. Keep them peeled.